I bought my wife a new set of lace pajamas. I plan to have a little fun in a few days for our anniversary. Instead, I found her wearing the lace pajamas. She appeared in Lu Jiaming's circle of friends to celebrate the final day of the movie. In the photo, the rest of the cast and crew were all drunk. Only the two of them were still sober and looking at each other in a romantic atmosphere. I made dozens of calls in a row that were all rejected. It wasn't until after 10 in the evening that Yu Meng called me back. If it wasn't for Jia Ming, my dream wouldn't have been realized at all. Didn't you say you were supportive? Yes, I did say support. But I didn't say I supported her cuckolding me. Before she had a chance to question, the phone was hurriedly hung up by Yu Meng. The answer she just took for granted made me furious. But more than that, I was self-deprecating and completely chilled. I immediately contacted Meng Xinyue, who works at a law firm, preparing the divorce agreement. It was only at 12 o'clock late at night that Yu Meng came back drunk. Cheng, I knew you would wait for me. Saying that, she lazily tried to lean on me. Between her breaths, I could smell the odor of another man on her body. Yu Meng and I grew up as childhood sweethearts and have been married for almost 3 years. How come I haven't seen what kind of person she is? I feel like the top of my head is glowing green. I couldn't endure this kind of thing any longer no matter what. I bought this especially for you. It's a bit late, but happy 3rd anniversary. Saying that, Yu Meng handed me a bottle of red wine and a men's watch. That watch was indeed a style that I had liked for a long time. But a few days ago I had seen Lu Jiaming sunbathing in his circle of friends. The strap already had obvious signs of bending. I couldn't help but laugh out bitterly. Yu Meng thought that I was laughing because I was happy, and used the wine to take off her jacket in front of me. I took the opportunity to push her away. But I glanced inside and saw that the lace nightgown that I had only bought for her, one of the buttons had disappeared. I know you bought these pajamas specially. Do I look good in it? In the old days, I would have carried her to bed. But nowadays, I am too dirty. Coincidentally at this time, Meng Xinyue called to tell me. The general framework of the divorce agreement has been prepared. Just missing the specific division of property. Yu Meng asked me who called. I do not want to hide anymore. But as soon as she heard it was Meng Xinyue's name, there was a sea change in attitude. Gu Qing, aren't you going overboard? Calling Meng Xinyue in the middle of the night? I also wanted to ask if she had gone too far as well. Is it okay to come home in the middle of the night yourself? Meng Xinyue was my college classmate. At that time, she and I were known as the double student bully in school. After graduation, except for the necessary business interactions, I have no contact with Meng Xinyue. But Yu Meng always thought of her as an imaginary enemy. When I was about to tell her the truth, my cell phone rang again. Yu Meng snatched the phone away. We both thought the caller was Meng Xinyue. Instead, Lu Jiaming's voice came from the other end of the phone. Meng, are you home yet? You drank a little too much today. I was a little worried about you. Halfway through his words, Lu Jiaming realized the problem himself. Oops, brother Qing. Sorry I misread the number. I meant to call Meng. Look at me, it's not that I drank too much and got blurry. Eyes. What a nice phrase, dream. Shouting even more intimately than meet. Yu Meng and I's cell phone number was a couple's number that we specifically picked when we got married. Only the last 2 digits are different. Did Lu Jiaming really make a typo, or did he do it on purpose? Anyone with a discerning eye can tell. The red wine that was only half left, because of Yu Meng's action of grabbing the cell phone, in the bottle shook recklessly, as if mocking my love all these years. I looked coldly at Yu Meng, who was holding my cell phone. But she still felt that Lu Jiaming's behavior of calling her was not a problem. So she glared righteously back at me. Jia Ming, it's me, I'm fine. The other party froze for a split second, obviously a little jealous. Meng, why is it you? Yu Meng continued with concern in a gentle voice I had never heard before. Are you physically okay? I drank so much today, it scared me to death. Rest early later. After saying that, she hung up on me. Half awake from the wine, Yumeng directly skipped me and walked straight to the bathroom. The sound of laughter came from the bathroom from time to time. It was her using her own cell phone to talk to Lu Jiaming on the phone. Usually, she takes a bath for half an hour at most. Today, she showered for more than an hour. Taking advantage of Yumeng's shower. I organized the bedding and moved it quietly into the second bedroom, until she saw that only her quilt was left in the master bedroom. She finally gave up and came over to look for me. I was just drifting off to sleep when she woke me up. Without waiting for me to say anything, Yumeng complained to me first. Gu Cheng, if you want to make a scene, you should have made enough noise, right? Isn't it just that I didn't accompany you properly today on the anniversary? I'll just make up for you tomorrow in a two-person world. Yumeng was still distracted when she communicated with me. There was also a conscious snapping of the phone screen downward. I tried hard to pretend that I didn't see those small movements of Yumeng. The divorce that I didn't have time to say before, I always have to say it. Who knows? Yumeng's phone vibrates again. She deliberately pressed the phone to mute. It is superfluous, I can still not know who is calling. Interrupted one after another. I turned my back directly to her. I simply put my head under the covers and didn't say anything. I thought she would at least explain something to me. But the room was awfully quiet. I could even hear her tapping on her cell phone screen. In the end, she didn't explain anything. She got up and took her cell phone and prepared to go out. Before closing the door, I heard a voice from Lu Jiaming. Meng, you're really talented. I hope this short video will be released soon. Looking forward to our next collaboration. The next day, I thought the late sleeping Yumeng would stay in bed until noon. But she got up early and was busy in the kitchen with her apron on. In the 3 years since we got married, this was the first time Yumeng took the initiative to cook. Seeing me awake, she brought me my breakfast. I looked at the somewhat burnt bread on the plate, and half a cup of milk with ice. When I first got together with Yumeng, her career wasn't taking off. I was the one who encouraged her to do self-publishing. I encouraged her to become a self-publisher and quietly used my contacts to broaden her relationships. Often when she was asleep. I often stayed up late when she was asleep to think of creative copy and write articles for her. That's when she developed stomach problems. Did you forget I can't drink cold milk? Yumeng didn't take my words seriously. If you think it's too cold, just warm it up in the microwave. You have to be so melodramatic about this little thing. While talking, she didn't forget to dress herself carefully. She even sprayed perfume on purpose. This flavor does not belong to any bottle of perfume brand that I gave her. Immediately after Yumeng changed into her jacket, carried the thermos bucket, and was ready to go out, I stopped her and asked her where she was going this early in the morning. Jiaming drank a lot yesterday. I made congee and sent it over to him to warm his stomach. Hearing these words, I could no longer suppress the anger in my heart. It turned out that Yumeng got up early in the morning in order to make congee for Lu Jiaming. My portion of breakfast was nothing more than a failure of her production. In your eyes, it's fine for me to drink ice milk and hurt my stomach. Lu Jiaming just drank a little bit of wine, and you're going to personally serve him congee? She impatiently pushed my hand away. Of course. Can you compare to him? If it wasn't for Jiaming, there's no way I would be where I am now. Hearing this, I wasn't angry anymore. I really was speechless and wanted to laugh. I'm a big man who wants to have a meal with his own wife on Memorial Day. Is that excessive? Yumeng, how many times is this the number of times we've quarreled over Lu Jiaming? Can you count them? After bowing her head in thought for a moment, she seemed to make up her mind. Don't you hold on to what happened yesterday, okay? It's okay to celebrate the anniversary a day late. We've been together for so long. Don't be serious. I didn't understand if that was an apology or an accusation. The reason why I took this day so seriously, it was entirely because Yumeng herself had told me before. Every year, Big and small festivals, birthdays, and anniversaries should be taken seriously. To prepare gifts for each other in advance, and to send each other blessings on time. I'm a no-nonsense science and technology guy. Inherited the family business right after graduation. Thinking that I don't have romantic cells, I have memorized all these in my memo. Afraid of forgetting and making you Meng angry. She frowned and sighed, pushing me away again. Don't use the bitter trick to force me to stay. We are all adults. Get out of the way. The congee won't taste good when it gets cold. Looking at Yu Meng's departing back, I couldn't help but feel bitter in my heart. Yu Meng not only didn't appreciate me, but also gave all the credit to Lu Jiaming. About half an hour later, Lu Jiaming sent another friend circled. In the video, Yu Meng was coaxing him, feeding him congee one by one. I saw that the ring Yu Meng wore when she got married had disappeared from her ring finger. Again, she took the initiative to help him clean up the house, wash his underwear and socks for him. Lu Jiaming hugged Yu Meng from behind and kissed at her neck. Originally, I held Yu Meng in my hands for fear of breaking. I couldn't let her work at all. Now she willingly does housework for another man. I smiled and clicked like, but in a few seconds the video was deleted by Lu Jiaming. It seems to have forgotten to set it to be invisible to me. Immediately after that, Lu Jiaming sent a message. Brother Cheng, don't misunderstand. This is the subject of the next short video. I looked at the breakfast Yu Meng incidentally prepared for me. At the moment the ice in the milk melted all over the table, woefully out of place. I threw these, along with these 10 years of feelings, together into the trash. Until the afternoon, I did not organize my emotions to go to the company to work. But I obviously feel that everyone looks at me with a strange look in their eyes. I walked into the office without knowing what. Meng Xinhua sent me a link. I looked at the title. It was the scene that Yu Meng was filming as the female lead this time. A wonderful teaser of 10 seconds or so was released in advance. I was already on fire in my heart when I clicked and saw the video cover. Directly, angry fist hammered on the table. In the preview, Yu Meng is wearing the set of lace pajamas that I bought for her. She was looking at Lu Jiaming with affection. The text reads, "In this life, having you is enough." My mind went blank and I could no longer suppress the anger in my heart. Immediately call Yu Meng. Let her give me an explanation. Who knew that on the other end of the phone, Yu Meng's attitude was even worse than mine. Gu Qing. What's wrong with you? I laughed in anger. You and Lu Jiaming blatantly kissed in front of me. And you ask me what's wrong with me? Do I have to congratulate you guys? Yu Meng said righteously. Of course. It's just acting. Are you as bad as that? You're the prototype of the male lead in this drama. Don't you understand? What's being acted out is the usual daily life of me and you. In her eyes, she didn't see anything wrong with the images and the scale. Through the phone, I could imagine Yu Meng's face full of impatience right now. Before I could say anything, Lu Jiaming's voice unexpectedly came from the other end of the phone. Meng, don't be angry. It's my fault. I didn't think it through well. I know. Brother Makoto is angry with me for disturbing your world of two. Then, Lu Jiaming's voice came a little closer. Brother Makoto, don't blame Meng. It's all my fault. Lu Jiaming was indeed a reversal of right and wrong. All of a sudden he made himself sound humble to the core. I was even more surprised that Yu Meng delivered a breakfast. Surprisingly, she hasn't come home until now. Before the phone was hung up, I heard Yu Meng comfort Lu Jiaming. What are you apologizing to him for? What's wrong with you? Gu Qing, he doesn't even know what acting is, so don't talk to him. Then he yelled at me, Gu Qing, reflect on yourself. No matter how much I don't know about acting, I still understand what it means to fake it. These days I had just finished dealing with the urgent matters at hand. Just about Meng Xinhua and the company to discuss the specific details of the divorce property division, because it involves the shares of many of my family businesses. I have spent a lot of time in order to divide the property as fairly as possible. I just finished drafting the divorce agreement in its entirety. My cell phone suddenly received the only message Yu Meng had sent me in the past few days. I'm downstairs at your company. Jiaming is very remorseful because of your phone call and hasn't slept well for a few days. Come down and apologize to him. Apologize? I don't understand what's wrong with me. In the past few days, what Yu Meng said that made me reflect was that she didn't come home to live at all. Originally, she couldn't send a friend circle once in a few months, but she sent a dozen in the past few days. Now that I think about it, it is really quite ironic. Accompanied by a different person, the heart is instantly changed. Lu Jiaming visited exhibitions together, went to concerts together, and visited other short video bloggers together. I didn't see that Lu Jiaming was having trouble sleeping because of his remorse. Before leaving, Meng Xinyue asked me when I was going to find Yu Meng to sign that. I happened to see Yu Meng burst into my office in a rage. Because of Mrs. Gu's status, no one dared to stop Yu Meng. The moment she met Meng Xinyue, Yu Meng immediately restrained her temper, deliberately posing as the hostess as much as she could. Cheng, I really miss you too much. I just heard you say something about Let wanting me to sign. I pushed Yu Meng's wrist on my shoulder away and said without any emotion, Divorce papers, of course you have to sign them. What did you say? Divorce papers? You want to divorce me? Yu Meng asked 3 questions in a row, not believing what I said at all. Just because I didn't spend my anniversary with you, you're going to be like this? Do you know that you're acting childishly like this? Can you stop being irrational? I don't understand how she still thinks I'm joking when it comes down to it. Don't forget, you still owe Jimin an apology. He's downstairs, you're coming down with me. I'll let your current capriciousness slide if you have a better attitude. I was too lazy to bother with her. Put the black and white divorce papers in front of her. With a serious expression. Look at the contents. The division of property is acceptable to you. Yu Meng froze, then believed that I was determined to divorce him, but attributed all the problems to the fact that I was not clean with Meng Xinyue. Sternly pointing at Meng Xinyue, scolded. You're the vixen who seduced my husband? Do you know how long I've known Gu Cheng? You think you can replace my position in Gu Cheng's heart? She growled like crazy. Smoothly, she picked up the glass of water on the table and splashed it in Meng Xinyue's direction. I can't let innocent people be implicated. Every time Yu Meng gets angry over Meng Xinyue for no reason, I would lower my voice to explain, soften, make any mistakes, and apologized. Even though I wasn't wrong at all. Quick as a flash, I took an arrow step in front of Meng Xinyue. The boiling hot tea seeped down my suit and into the shirt inside. It would be a lie to say it wasn't hot, but it couldn't warm up my chilled heart. Yu Meng only regained a trace of sanity when she saw me being splashed. Wanting to come over to care for me, she was coldly pushed away by me. If you feel guilty, sign the divorce papers. Hearing this, Yu Meng reddened her eyes and her voice choked. Cheng, are you serious? I don't understand why you suddenly want to divorce me. You really care about the anniversary. Can't we just have it right away? This has long been more than just an anniversary. I've lost some of my patience. Lu Jiaming appeared at the office door at some point. Meng, do you really want to go with Gu Cheng? But you just said that you're going to go to the shooting location with me later. These words ignited Yu Meng's temper completely. She was really holding a bellyful of fire, not knowing who to vent it out to. Shoot. Just know how to shoot. Can't you see I'm getting a divorce? Lu Jiaming pulled Yu Meng over and tried to take her into his arms. Meng, divorce is divorce. You still have me. I can give you happiness just the same. Yu Meng snorted and backhanded Lu Jiaming. This was unexpected. I wiped the tea stains from my shirt while watching the show. Yu Meng pulled over Lu Jiaming's collar. What are you? You don't think you're comparable to Cheng, do you? Even if I get a divorce, there's no way I'll be with you. Lu Jiaming froze in place at Yu Meng's words. At this time, Meng Xinhua walked out from behind me. Taking out another pile of documents and a USB drive from her bag, she placed them on the table. After she knew I wanted a divorce, she incidentally investigated Lu Jiaming's bottom line. Really do not know, a check shocked. This pile of documents, in addition to Lu Jiaming's academic qualifications fraud, there are also his director's works. I casually flipped through a few of them, which are all erased photos. There were also videos of ambiguous relationships between different men and women, which Lu Jiaming had filmed to the fullest. Until I saw Yu Meng's face, as well as her half-exposed shoulders, I couldn't look any further. These Yu Meng naturally also saw. She stared wide-eyed, unable to speak at all. After half a day of slowing down, she covered her mouth and shouted, "Where did these things come from? I didn't even shoot these things. Guqing, what do you mean by this? What good is it to you to do this? I do like filming, but you can't move things around and ruin my reputation." I looked at her with a cold smile. "What did you do yourself? Isn't it good to honestly admit it?" Yu Meng reddened her eyes and her chest rose and fell violently. "I really don't know. I'm your wife. How could I possibly apologize to you?" Immediately, she thought of something. She hurriedly looked behind her. But where was Lu Jiaming's shadow? When he realized that the atmosphere inside the office was not right, he had long since slipped away. Yu Meng's hands were trembling, her cell phone was unsteady, and she was busy calling him. The first 2 calls went unanswered, and it wasn't until the 3rd call that it was slowly picked up. "Lu Jiaming, where did you run off to? Wasn't it you who messed up? What do you want?" On the other end of the phone, Lu Jiaming was smiling. Meng, didn't you say that I'm not good enough for you? So I left in good humor. Have you forgotten? These videos were all made by you who begged me to help you." Lu Jiaming no longer disguised his original insincere appearance and continued. "That night of springtime, a beautiful time, how can you say you've forgotten it? That day you said you envied the love inside the Titanic, saying that Guqing couldn't give you what you wanted. Even more so when you were talking about the scene where Jack was painting for Zoe, the love was uncontrollable. Begging for me to make a similar scene for you. Why are you flipping out now?" Yu Meng on the other end of the phone blushed miserably. "No way. I didn't do such a thing." Lu Jiaming's laughter echoed through the phone. "I also don't know how this kind of private work was discovered. However, I know this will definitely disturb you. That's why I'm quitting now." Yu Meng was speechless, her eyes red. "Lu Jiaming, why are you taking your word for it?" Not waiting for Yu Meng to finish, Lu Jiaming instead hung up the phone first. Letting Yu Meng dial again, no one answered. Turning her head, she tearfully met my eyes. "Ah Cheng, believe me, I definitely didn't do these things. These videos, I really don't know what's going on." From Yu Meng's reaction, she was more than likely one of the victims as well. But at this time, I couldn't afford to commit the slightest bit of compassion. Regardless of whether this matter is true or false, the feelings between us already have impurities and can't go back to the past. Be decent and sign the words. Yu Meng no longer had her old arrogance. Sitting paralyzed on the ground, she couldn't stop shaking her head. "No, I don't sign. Cheng, please, let's not divorce, okay?" Yu Meng said to the end, crying uncontrollably. I sighed and shook my head. "Yu Meng, from the very beginning we are not on the same path. You said I was materialistic, realistic, and didn't know how to act. Now that I've made you whole, why are you reluctant again? Originally a complete home, there are always rat droppings stirring things up inside. How is it possible to cloud the waters and pretend that nothing happened? It's a fact that she quarreled with me 3 or 4 times because of Lu Jiaming. And what have you done to me these days?" Yu Meng heard that I had made up my mind, but she was still undeterred and begged me in a low voice. "Listen to my explanation. These days I'm deliberately angry with you. I go to exhibitions and visit bloggers. all because I want to be a real actor. I posted my friend circle because I could finally accomplish something meaningful on my own. It had nothing to do with Lu Jiaming. These practices are indeed wrong. I admit I was wrong. I apologize to you. The scene was silent, and she was hesitant to sign. In the end, it was Meng Xinyue who came out to smooth things over it. Gu Cheng, this matter has gotten so far that everyone is uncomfortable in their hearts. Why don't we just let it go for today? I think Yu Meng really doesn't know anything about it. Maybe she was really cheated. It's better to investigate the matter first. The divorce matters soon reached both parents. It wasn't me who brought this up. It was Yu Meng who let it slip after she returned to her parents' home. I also left the matrimonial home where I had lived with Yu Meng for 3 years and returned to my own villa. A few days later, my father-in-law and mother-in-law brought Yu Meng to my door to apologize. They also advised me to give Yu Meng another chance. After all, the two families are family friends, and it's not good to end it later if it gets too ugly. The old generation is to persuade and not to persuade the separation. Even my parents advised me to reconsider. It just so happens that Yu Meng's last short video is on the shelves, and I smoothly clicked on the projector at home and played it on the big screen. The 10-minute video seemed to play for an hour. Mother-in-law once again lost control of her emotions and slapped Yu Meng in front of everyone. Sins, how did I give birth to a daughter like you? What a disgrace. Your father and I tried to explain for you. Where do you want us to put our old faces? You really deserve this. You're playing with fire and getting burned. We told you to focus more on Xiao Cheng, but you didn't listen. Mother-in-law got more and more agitated and directly fainted in anger. In the end, it was only when I drove her to the emergency room that she slowed down. After a long time, Yu Meng did not show up. I have not been able to contact her, and the divorce agreement is not signed. My mom said that Yu Meng's parents were ashamed of her. They have moved to their hometown and threatened to break off their relationship. For me and Yu Meng's marriage, the two old men said that their family was wrong in the first place. They won't block it anymore and respect my decision. I was preparing the materials for the divorce prosecution, Meng Xinyue told me. Her investigation of Lu Jiaming has made progress. The ID of the video posted on the internet was found to be the address of Lu Jiaming's friend. He is intentionally trying to break up Yu Meng and me, and playing the male T-whore. But why did he say he wanted to quit and leave when I had already agreed to divorce Yu Meng? What's the point of having the duck in the hand fly away? As I was thinking about this in my head, Meng Xinyue continued. After Yu Meng left our house that day, Lu Jiaming followed her all the way. The two waited until no one was around before entering the same hotel one after another. Yu Meng confessed in front of me, crying and begging me for forgiveness. In the end, she turned around and hooked up with Lu Jiaming. If I hadn't made up my mind to divorce Yu Meng this time, I would have been cheated by her again. No wonder she didn't answer my calls. The original is still with Lu Jiaming and have no time out. I interrupted Meng Xinyue. Let her stop talking. I'm sick of hearing it. Yu Meng cannot answer my calls, but cannot ignore the court summons. Since she wants to tear her face off, what reason do I have not to serve? I handed the organized materials to Meng Xinyue. She relieved me and said, or not a plane ticket to travel abroad to take a break. A period of contact down. I understand that Meng Xinyue has a good feeling about me. But I still refused her. Now, there is a divorce lawsuit in the body is not clear. Whether it is for myself or her, it is not responsible. Until a few days before the court date, Yu Meng took the initiative to contact me. She said she wanted to meet with me because she couldn't explain on the phone. She had a lot of things she wanted to say to me. Yu Meng asked me to meet her in our matrimonial home. When she saw me, she couldn't help but redden her eyes. Cheng, I'm sorry, but I still say that I don't want to divorce you. I turned around and wanted to leave. If she was looking for me just to say those words, she could have stayed until the court. Yu Meng saw that I was going to leave and could no longer care about being reserved, kneeling down and hugging my legs to stop me. Listen to me. I can explain. I asked Lu Jiaming. Those videos were synthesized by his own AI. I didn't even take off my clothes in front of him. He's just a pervert. I was also cheated by him, but I really didn't apologize to you. As she said this, Yumeng looked at me with expectations in her eyes. I asked her in return, is it not cheating until the last step in bed? What's more, is it only because of cheating that you can get a divorce? Where were you on our anniversary? I have a bad stomach. When you left a glass of cold milk and went to Lu Jiaming's side, did you think of me? Do you know what it's like for me to watch my wife having a public affair with another man? Yumeng pinched her nails into her palms as she listened to my accusations. I'm sorry. During this time, it was me who neglected you. But I'm also just trying to fight for a little status in front of you. You were the one who spoiled me, to say the least, but I felt more and more unworthy of you. It wasn't until I started filming that I could feel the waves of your emotions. Also, it's not that I'm not willing to contact you these days, it's that I've been imprisoned by Lu Jiaming. It wasn't until a few days ago, when he suddenly got a call to leave, that I had the chance to escape. I pulled her hand away. Imprisoned? You can't even make up this kind of lie. You think I don't know where you went after that day? Yumeng couldn't catch her breath from crying and shook her head repeatedly. Through the light I saw that although her face was covered in thick foundation, but the places that had been slid over by the tears were vaguely bruised. After that day I did go to the hotel with Lu Jiaming, but it is not what you think. He said he wanted to return the money to me, and that's why I went. What money? It turned out that Yumeng hid it from me and lent Lu Jiaming $1 million. Said it was to invest in his studio. After the falling out that day, Yumeng thought about getting the money back. She ran into Lu Jiaming at the door, who knew that he would play a trick and pay back the money, but imprisoned Yumeng in a rented room and waited for her to die. $1 million? Yumeng, you are so generous. On weekdays, I have to apply to you if I want to buy a pair of 1,000 shoes. Yumeng's next words that wanted to continue selling misery were blocked by me. Ah Cheng. Why don't you ask me if I hurt anywhere? Perhaps she could never have imagined that I would only care about money. After I married Yumeng, although I am the president in front of people, high above, but in person, I turn over my entire salary and never ask questions. Every month also receive a few $1,000s of pocket money. Life has been very simple. I thought she would go behind my back to find a man, but never expected that she would give a man to spend so much money. Nowadays, I no longer have feelings for Yumeng, so of course I would value money a bit more. Yumeng, we're almost divorced. If you don't get this $1 million back, you know what the consequences are. She, as the cheating party, not only can't share a penny with me, but she will also owe me $1 million. Yumeng looked at me without the slightest intention of loving her, and her face became more and more miserable. Chengwei, really can't go back. I annoyingly lit up a cigarette, which is considered to be the default. Cheng, for the sake of our husband and wife, I beg you for one last thing. Please use your connections to help me find Lu Jiaming. I really can't help. I sneered and told her to go to the police if she had a problem. $1 million is not a small number. The police will file an investigation. Although I said so on my mouth. But Yumeng does not know that before she asked me to meet, I was already privately investigating something. The women on those videos are all victims. They might have been cheated by Lu Jiaming just like Yumeng, or really had a date with Lu Jiaming. Maybe they didn't even recognize the man and had only glanced over in a hurry. But none of this is a reason to indulge a pervert who goes around committing crimes. After I found out about Lu Jiaming, I submitted the photos of these women to the police at the first opportunity. I guess the phone call Lu Jiaming received was from the police. Panicked, he didn't care about Yumeng and ran away. But how capable is he of hiding from the police? As expected, he was soon arrested by the police. Yumeng, as one of the victims, cooperated with the police investigation. When she saw Lu Jiaming, she didn't hold back from cursing him and telling him to pay back the money. And Lu Jiaming exposed his original ambition with a gangly face, said that the money had long been spent by himself. Would have liked to cheat a little more money, duh. I didn't realize that Yu Meng lovesickness took it seriously. She was willing to fight with her husband for him. But she met a bad talker like me. I'm not a good talker. I've got the brains and the money, so I've fallen for it. If you want money, you don't have it. If you want a life, you can just swing it. What's more, Meng Xinyue's sister is also one of the victims. It's no wonder Meng Xinyue took the initiative to help me with the investigation and was willing to speak for Yu Meng. When the police called her sister, the girl was furious and in complete disbelief. Because she didn't know Lu Jiaming at all. When she saw that the woman in the video used her own face, she was disgusted and bad. Between the other victims who were notified to come to the police station, the only similarity was that they had attended the same university as Lu Jiaming. Lu Jiaming violated someone's right to a portrait in violation of the law. In addition to being fined, he was sentenced to a term of imprisonment because of his heinous nature. On the day of the trial, Yu Meng looked like a deflated ball and did not object to the verdict. Her eyes were no longer bright, only a dead air. The day I got the divorce certificate, Meng Xinyue came over to find me. Mr. Gu, may I ask now, can we have a relationship? I smiled and touched her head. Of course. Yu Meng saw this scene and gripped the divorce certificate in her hand. She wanted to say something more to me, but looked at me and Meng Xinyue clasping their fingers. In the end, she didn't say anything. When Mom and Dad heard that I had a girlfriend again, they were quite happy at first. But then they thought I was a divorced man. Don't hold up a young woman. If you are really ready for the next relationship, let me be sure to be responsible for Meng Xinyue. Laughing at the too old, I'm not a 3-year-old child. This point of reason still do not understand. It wasn't long before Meng Xinyue offered to come to my house as a guest. This can be my parents are very happy. Just met with my parents, a mouthful of aunts and uncles shouted. The old couple happy flowers. She also brought a lot of gifts. Unlike Yu Meng, she is a very grounded girl who knows the ways of the world. Although Yu Meng is my childhood friend, but rarely take the initiative to come to my house. Not to mention letting her take the initiative to call out or help. Meng Xinyue's hometown is out of town. I also heard from a friend to realize that her father has been in business with us for a long time. It's just that Meng Xinyue hides it so well that I never knew about it. If it wasn't for the gossip, I wouldn't have known that she was also a young lady. But she doesn't have the look of a young lady. Whether it's to me or my parents, it's all genuinely good. Soon, I held a wedding with Meng Xinyue. The wedding was all prepared by me and her, personally. Neither she nor I are romantic people, a cold-faced president and a lawyer. But we remembered each other's birthdays, every holiday, every anniversary. Gave each other enough respect, security, and space. 2 years later, our child was born. Life is full and happy. I gradually forget Yu Meng this person. After the divorce, we deleted each other's contact information. Until one day I heard about her on the news. She was tricked by a fraud gang to sell her kidney. It was hard to escape, but she died halfway. Not because the injury was too serious, but someone intentionally murdered. That person was Lu Jiaming. He was released after his sentence, and the first thing he did was to follow Yu Meng, and then stabbed her to death. Lu Jiaming went to turn himself in, but he got away with it. He was smiling when he went to jail again. When I learned the news, I first asked my parents to contact my former in-laws. I hoped that they would not have a sudden accident because of excessive panic. Who knows? My parents said that the old couple had long predicted this date. Since Yu Meng divorced me, she went back to her hometown and found them. Just had to ask them for money, saying they still owed me $1 million. But they have long confirmed with my parents. On the day of the divorce, I had canceled my charge for the $1 million. It was the last decent thing I left for Yumeng. But Yumeng was like crazy. She threatened to beat and curse the old couple if they didn't give her the money. They couldn't stand it any longer. The only way they could think of was to send Yumeng to a mental hospital. The only way they could think of was to send Yumeng to a mental hospital. But before waiting for the hospital car, Yumeng ran out without authorization. Once again, the news is now the news of her death. I sighed deeply, feeling sorry for Yumeng's life. If she was willing to live a good life with me in the beginning, would never have come to the current state. Everything has finally come to an end, and it's too late to say anything now. I looked at my sleeping wife and the baby in the crib. I vowed to protect them with my life.